Ethan famously said, I don't know why this movie costs $30 million. It's just three dopes walking across Mississippi.
The two projects right around Oh Brother you did were Shakespeare adaptations. You were in a Hamlet, and you did working in Shakespeare, doing Shakespeare plays and movies prepare you in any way to work with the Coens?
Well, to be clear, in Hamlet 2000, which is starring Ethan Hawke, I had one line, and I managed with that one line nearly to derail the entire movie. I was so bad.
Good sir. Whose powers are these?
The nephew to old Norway, Fortinbras.
I would sort of say that was a reverse Midas touch with in terms of any understanding of Shakespeare.
It was a miracle. Delmar, don't be ignorant.
When I was offered Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, I was sent the script by Joel, and he said, I need your advice. And I read it and misinterpreted what he was saying, thinking that he wanted me to respond to their adaptation of Homer because I was a classics major. And then he said, no, we want you to play Delmar.
Okay, I'm with you fellas.
Had you known John Turturro before, and what was it like then working with him?
I'd never met John before. I was a completely unknown pipsqueak of a character actor and had no business being a lead in a Coen Brothers movie alongside Turturro and George Clooney. George and John in particular couldn't have been more nice. John had the most experience of anyone on that set with the Coens.
You said it, man.
And so it really was Turturro who showed me the ropes in terms of conduct on a Coen Brothers set, which, by the way, sounds very simple. It's basically give them more than they're asking for so that they can scale it back if need be. And B, they don't like a word to be changed. And if you do change a word, you're going to hear about it in a nice way. Sure. But they also want you within those parameters to take really bold chances.
They loved him up and turned him into a horny toad.
Do you have any stories that capture also what George was like on set?
I don't know how a person could be a more gracious, generous, and deeply human megastar than George Clooney. It was one morning I came into the makeup trailer. One of the makeup artists said, so Tim, how was your night last night? I said, oh my God, it was just perfect. I got home at 6:30 and there was my wife and the 6-month-old, and she had made a pasta pesto. I couldn't have had a better evening. And there was this little pause, a pauselet, and George says to the trailer, remind me never to get married. And out of anybody else's mouth, it would have, I might have taken some umbrage, but not George. It just was perfect. And of course, now he's married with kids.
Yeah. I want to talk about a few of the scenes. I want to play you one, see what it's like watching it. Let's watch the baptism scene.
What great filmmakers Joel and Ethan are. Every camera move there is just perfect. Every frame is perfect. The editing is impeccable. It was beautiful to be there, seeing those people in that wardrobe with the music blasting on speakers and them singing along with it. So you were really getting double the choir. Something absolutely heavenly to observe.
Come on in, boys. The water is fine.
Do you remember when you first heard Man of Constant Sorrow?
I am a man of constant sorrow.
When Joel sent me the script, as if he needed to convince me, he said, you've got to hear the music. That's really going to sell you on what we want to do.
Damn, this is something boy.
What struck me as most funny about it, I knew George would be singing the lead. And when I heard the chorus, I thought, oh my God, John Turturro and I are going to get to be at a microphone singing that. And it's so funny.
It's a very funny dance that you guys are doing together.
The dance that Turturro and I do was entirely John. He came up with that in the moment. I've never had more fun than dancing behind George when George is singing the lead, following John's choreography.
You're a sweet little babe. Honey in the rock and the
What do you remember from shooting the sirens scene?
That was Turturro's first day, and I was plucking the banjo in the back seat, and that was going to be Turturro's moment.
Shut up, Delmar.
I watched him stick his fist halfway into his mouth and wail, and then just run down with this walk he had created for his character, who he decided that Pete was hemorrhoidal. And I just thought, oh my God, I am so lucky to get to be around this person. It was just a beautiful scene to get to behold. And the women, of course, were beautiful and kind with us and in on the joke and really fun and funny. And George likes to say that our SAG cards should have been revoked after Oh Brother came out because there was so much overacting from the three of us. I really do it. There's a face I make in that scene where she's, and it's almost like I don't have a real face, but it's made of rubber.
What was it like working with John Goodman in specifically the fight scene?
John is most distinguished to me by his generosity.
That's why I invited y'all out here for this advanced tutorial.
And I just got to marvel at watching a real master of character acting do his thing with what it was he was up to in playing Big Dan Teague, the Cyclops. At the end of it, we ended the sequence with this close-up of Delmar as he's passing out, and we finished it. And John came and stood over me. I looked up. He said, Tim, early in my career, an actor I really admired saw something that I did, and he went like this and gave me the madman's salute because I had taken a chance and I was to him a fellow madman. And I am now passing that on to you. You have my madman's salute. And it's one of the great moments of my career as an actor.
I got asked the KKK scene.
Well, we shot the KKK scene in Los Angeles on the Disney Ranch because Joel and Ethan were scared that it would be misinterpreted if we shot it in the South. They wanted a much more controlled environment. At that time, there was no tiling or digital ads. There were hundreds of people out there in those get-ups. That's what gives Oh Brother, Where Art Thou its edge. It's not just a zany comedy. There are passages of real sadness and poignancy in the movie. And there is also real danger to people that then culminates in hilarity. And that juxtaposition, I think, is what deepens the comedy of the movie.
What is the film's legacy for you personally?
It's the movie that changed my life. I feel like I've gotten to have a career as a character actor solely because of Joel and Ethan. Now, I had to deliver, but it's pretty easy to deliver with that kind of writing and that kind of direction. And like with John Turturro and Holly Hunter, so many of these character actors whom they've put forward in their films and effectively introduced to the world. I get to be one of those. To me, it's all about the Coens.